It was a dark and stormy night at Riverside University. The wind howled through the empty hallways, and the rain pounded against the windows of the central library. Most students had left campus for the long weekend, but Lucas, a history student with a fascination for urban legends and mysteries, chose to stay at the university. He had a specific reason for this. For months, Lucas had heard rumors about the existence of a secret room underground in the library. This room was said to hold forbidden books, ancient parchments, and mysterious artifacts that had never seen the light of day. The idea of discovering something hidden and mysterious intrigued him deeply, and he decided that the holiday would be the perfect opportunity to explore the hidden recesses of the library. As the storm raged outside, Lucas walked through the dusty halls of the library, a flashlight in one hand and a backpack on his back. The tension in the air was palpable, as if the university itself was shrouded in sinister secrets. The old portraits of deans and professors looked at him with empty eyes, like silent spectators of his plans. He passed endless rows of dusty bookshelves, scanning the book titles as he searched for clues as to the location of the secret room. Some shelves were covered in sheets, as if they had been out of use for years. Lucas wondered what could be hidden behind them. The night wore on, and Lucas began to feel restless. He knew he was alone in the library, but it seemed like something else was watching him from the shadows. His footsteps echoed in the empty hallways, creating an ominous echo that reverberated in your ears. Finally, he found an ancient manuscript hidden on a corner shelf. It was an old document that looked like it was written by a student many decades ago. Lucas began to leaf through it carefully, looking for any mention of the secret room. As he read, his excitement grew. The manuscript vaguely mentioned the existence of the room and provided clues on how to find it. It seemed that the secret room was located underground in the library and was accessed through a seemingly ordinary door. Lucas smiled with anticipation as he read the detailed instructions for finding this hidden door. Deciding to follow in the footsteps of the student of the past, Lucas carefully folded the manuscript and put it in his backpack. The storm outside seemed to agree with his mission, increasing in intensity as he got closer to his goal. He knew the night would be long and full of mysteries, but he was determined to discover what was hidden underground at the University of Riverside Library. With his flashlight in hand and the promise of ancient secrets awaiting him in the depths, Lucas began his search for the secret room that stormy night. Luke followed the instructions in the ancient manuscript to the letter. He walked silently down the main hallway of the library, his heart pounding with excitement and nervousness. The rain outside fell even more intensely, as if nature itself was trying to dissuade him from continuing. Reaching the darkest corner of the library, he found a seemingly ordinary door, as covered in dust and neglected as the rest of the place. According to the instructions in the manuscript, this was the door that would lead him to the secret room. Lucas hesitated for a moment, his trembling finger touching the dusty doorknob. What would he find on the other side? He knew it was his insatiable curiosity that drove him, but he was also aware that the unknown could be scary. With a sigh, he turned the handle and pushed the door open. It creaked ominously as it opened, as if revealing a long-forgotten secret. Lucas entered carefully, his flashlight illuminating the path before him. The secret room was small and dimly lit. Dusty books were stacked on the shelves, and unlit candles created dancing shadows on the worn walls. The strange energy he had felt earlier in the library seemed stronger here, as if the air itself was permeated with ancient secrets. Lucas started looking through the books and documents in the room. He found intriguing accounts of unexplained happenings at the university over the years. Stories of ghostly apparitions in the empty hallways, strange sounds in the middle of the night, and even students who had disappeared without a trace. As he delved deeper into the reports, Lucas heard a faint sound coming from a dark corner of the room. It was like a soft, unsettling whisper, almost inaudible. He turned toward the sound, his flashlight illuminating the darkness. It was then that he saw her, a pale, ethereal figure floating in the air like a dense fog. His empty eyes seemed to penetrate Lucas's soul, and he felt an icy shiver run down his spine. The ghostly figure whispered incomprehensible words, as if she was trying to communicate with him. Panic gripped Lucas, and he took a step back, his heart beating wildly. He felt trapped, surrounded by the ghostly figure and shadows of the secret room. The feeling that something much bigger and more sinister was happening overcame him. With ragged breaths, Lucas realized he needed to find a way to escape before it was too late. The ghostly figure continued to approach, its empty eyes glowing in the darkness. He knew he couldn't retreat, so he frantically looked for a way out, any way out of the room. What awaited Lucas in the depths of the university? Was the ghostly figure a manifestation of the legends and mysteries he sought? Or was there something more sinister and insidious at play? With time running out, Lucas found himself in a desperate fight for survival in the darkness of the university. Lucas backed away, his heart pounding as the ghostly figure slowly approached him. Her empty eyes seemed to hypnotize him, and the unintelligible words she whispered intensified, filling the secret room with a chilling murmur. He knew he couldn't allow fear to completely overwhelm him. Desperately, he searched for a way out, his eyes scanning the claustrophobic environment for an escape route. It was then that he noticed a second door on the other side of the room, a door he hadn't noticed before. It was a solid wooden door, covered in dust and cobwebs, and it looked as neglected as the first. He approached the door and turned the handle, hoping it would lead him to safety. The door creaked open, revealing a narrow, dark hallway in front of it. The ghostly figure hesitated, as if reluctant to follow him. Lucas wasted no time. He ran down the hallway, his flashlight illuminating the uncertain path. The feeling that something was chasing him followed him, but he didn't look back. He just wanted to escape the secret room and the ghostly figure. The corridor seemed endless, and Lucas began to wonder if he was lost in the university's underground. He was surrounded by dark, oppressive shadows, and the whispers of the ghostly figure still echoed in his mind. Finally, he reached a door at the end of the hall. He opened it and emerged in another corner of the library, not far from where it all began. The ghostly figure had not followed him there. Lucas was exhausted and terrified, but he knew he needed to tell someone about his experience. He ran out of the library and went straight to the campus security house. There, he found a night guard on duty, a middle-aged man named Alan. Alan listened to Lucas's story with a serious expression, and his eyebrows furrowed as he tried to process the student's words. "You say you saw a ghostly figure in the library?" Alan asked, skeptical. Lucas nodded firmly. "Yes, I saw it. And it was whispering strange things. It was real, I swear." The night guard sighed and scratched his head. "You know, students always talk about the library being haunted, but I never took those stories seriously. Now, I'm not sure." As Lucas and Alan talked, the storm outside finally began to subside. The night was almost over, and the dim light of dawn began to fill the campus. Lucas felt relieved to be out of the library and to have someone to share his experience with. But he knew the story didn't end there. He had to find out what was really happening underground at the university and why that ghostly figure had chosen him. The truth was still out there, waiting to be discovered, and Lucas was determined to find it, no matter how scary it might be. The experience in the library had left Lucas with many questions and a feeling of restlessness. He knew he couldn't ignore what had happened and was determined to discover the truth about the ghostly figure and the mysteries of the university's underground. In the weeks that followed, Lucas immersed himself in research into the history of the university and its oldest buildings. He interviewed retired faculty, staff, and even some older students in search of information about the institution's dark past. He discovered that the university had a rich history, but there were also persistent rumors of supernatural events and unexplained happenings dating back decades. Students and staff shared stories about ghost sightings, strange sounds, and even mysterious disappearances. Among the many stories he heard, one stood out. It was the story of a student named Emily, who disappeared in the 70s. Emily was known for being curious and obsessed with uncovering university secrets. Her last search took her underground to the library, where she found something that terrified her. According to legend, Emily never returned from the underground, and her disappearance has remained unsolved to this day. Lucas began to believe that his own experience in the library was related to what Emily had discovered. Determined to follow in Emily's footsteps, Lucas began exploring the university's underground. He found secret entrances hidden behind dusty bookshelves and forgotten passages that led him to a maze of dark corridors and abandoned rooms. As he went deeper, He felt the atmosphere becoming more and more oppressive. Shadows danced on the walls and strange murmurs echoed through the hallways. He knew he wasn't alone underground. Finally, he arrived at a room that seemed to be the epicenter of something sinister. The walls were covered in strange symbols and ancient inscriptions. Dusty books and ancient manuscripts were stacked on tables, as if someone was carrying out obscure experiments there. While exploring the room, Lucas found an old diary that belonged to Emily. Its pages were filled with notes about her underground research and her disturbing discoveries. She had mentioned the ghostly figure he had also encountered, describing it as a guardian of the university's hidden secrets. Emily believed the figure was a manifestation of something much larger and darker that was buried deep within the university. She was convinced that she had discovered forbidden knowledge that should remain hidden. Lucas realized that Emily had disappeared because she was determined to protect the university and the outside world from something terrible. But what exactly had she discovered? And what was behind the ghostly figure? Before he could look for more answers, Lucas heard footsteps approaching the room. The ghostly figure was there, hovering in the doorway, its empty eyes fixed on him. This time, instead of retreating, Lucas decided to face the figure. He approached her and began to speak, as if trying to understand his intentions. The figure remained motionless, but its murmurs became clearer. It was then that Lucas understood the words of the figure. She was trying to warn him, protect him from the dangerous knowledge he was about to discover. She was willing to reveal the truth, but at what cost? What would Lucas choose to do? Continue searching for the truth that had been hidden for decades, even if it meant facing knowledge that could change your life forever? Or would he backtrack, letting the university's dormant secrets remain untouched? The mystery was before him, awaiting his decision. Lucas knew that no matter which path he chose, his life would never be the same.